Alveda King, celebrating Juneteenth Unite Americans by making it a national holiday. To view the full article, click the first link in the description below. This might be the year Juneteenth gets the respect it deserves. It's about time. Juneteenth marks the day in 1865 when people held as slaves in Texas finally learned that the abhorrent practice had ended 2 years previously, when President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. The proclamation freed all persons held as slaves in the states that had rebelled against the Union, and Texas was one of them. To understand how it took more than 2 years for slaves in Texas to learn they were free, you have to know a little bit of history about the Lone Star State. Alveda King, as riots spread across U.S., heed words of my uncle Martin Luther King to end violence and racism. Before Texas was a state, it was ruled by Spain and later, Mexico. Both governments encouraged the freeing of slaves, but in the 1820s, when slave owners from the southern states began migrating to Texas to grow cotton, the number of slaves began to grow. When Texas won its independence from Mexico in 1836, slavery was written into the new republic's constitution. In 1845, when Texas was annexed to the U.S., there were some 30,000 slaves in the state. By 1850, that number had jumped to more than 50,000. 10 years later, the slave population numbered more than 180,000. Click here to sign up for our opinion newsletter. Texas seceded from the Union in 1861 and joined the Confederacy. At that point, almost 1/4 of Texas families owned at least one slave. Following the Emancipation Proclamation, Southern slaveholders began moving their human captives into Texas, where few Union soldiers were stationed and the proclamation could be ignored. That changed on June 19, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger and 2,000 Union soldiers arrived in Galveston and declared all slaves free. By reading this proclamation, the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves. To view the full article, click the first link in the description below.